What's up, y'all? Welcome to Hot Takes. Please let us know if you cannot hear us or see us.
Hey.
This is Skeleton Lipstick,
What's up, guys?
and I am Young Shiro. That TV static is not looking too good. Let's fix that. But anyways, this is a vaporwave talk show where no opinion is out of place. So
None.
welcome. We've got a very special guest today that will be joining us in about 10-15 minutes. We are
Very
incredibly excited to have Yuni Wa with us in the house. Thank you to Tech Honors for rating us. I don't think he's rated us yet, but he probably will soon, so thank him in advance. And as always, hit us with your questions, your hot takes and opinions, and keep me in the know about how things look and sound. Do you want to start us off with a hot take? Or...
Why don't you start off with the music rec first?
All right, I got a music rec. If I have ever had a music rec, I got something for y'all today. So I might be...
You're very excited about this music
Bro,
rec.
I might be a little late to the game, but I finally downloaded, I paid for and downloaded Sewer Slut's Draining Love Story. Have you guys heard Sewer Slut?
Yeah.
It is stupid good. Like, dummy good. It's breaks, for those of you that are into breakbeat or drum and bass. It is very dark, very sad, very edgy, but not in a bad way. What's up, Shoji? Thanks for the follow. It is
Shoji. I miss you,
Shoji.
buddy.
Man,
Miss you, buddy.
Harold is the homie.
He is the homie.
Sewer Slut's Draining Love Story. Honestly, being completely candid, I was a little off-put by the name of the act and some of the artwork and like themes at play in a lot of Sewer Slut's music, but complete 180. I listened to it and I was just like, Jesus God, this is some of the best. I wouldn't even call it vaporwave. It's not really. I know that vaporwave is very much an ethos as much as it is a sound, but it's not. There we go. We're being rated.
Thanks for the raid, Tech.
It's very much like dark, sad, angry breaks. It kind of reminds me of Sierra Mist. It reminds me of
Sierra Mist.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of like some of the hip hop producers like Eric Dingus and Yumi and the people like Friend Zone, but with breakbeats. So if you guys have not heard Sewer Slut's Draining Love Story, you gotta hear it. It is sad, it is dark, it is amazing. What's up, Tech Honors? What's up, Ronnie?
What's up, Tech?
So
How
many
you guys
good
doing?
people
What's
are
up?
here.
Ronnie,
Welcome to Hot
Shoji, Indy, Shiny Crystal Pistol, Christ.
Damn, we got so
All you
many
guys.
hot people in here right now. Holy shit.
Here, Aloe Obscura, Obsidian. Oh, my girlfriend, Obsidian Allure, Lux. Wonderful and talented
Look at all
Lux,
these amazing-
obviously. DS Dude. Oh, Groovy Kaiju. What's up,
Bro.
friend?
Got
All
some
right.
good people here.
That's a great album, by the way. That Sewer Slut. Oh,
Holy shit, it's
Molo. I
good.
hope you're feeling better, Molo. I hope that you're doing good. I know you've been sick, and I hope you're feeling better. What's up, Xavier Mac?
Yeah.
Slimewire. Oh, Slimewire. Nice, guys. All right. Yeah, that's a great album, by the way.
I'm going to
completely
post
agree
a
with
link
you.
to it. I recommend that you people buy this fella's music. Actually, I don't know if
What's
Sewer
up,
Slut
Sagito?
is a guy. I don't know that. But anyways, here it is
Sleep
in
pattern.
chat.
Here, yeah.
Pay money for this album. It's worth it.
And Rail, what's up, boy?
Yeah, I've got a lot of heavyweights here.
Thanks
Thanks for the follow, Lightning Jim, too. You're
Yeah,
the
thanks,
shit.
man. You rule.
All right, man. I know you got a
Me?
hot take for us.
I do have a hot take. Okay, so I do have a hot take. I think that we need to have a discussion a little bit about the importance of the physical media component for vaporwave and what that really means. So,
I agree.
hot take. First hot take is basically your album doesn't need to sell out right away. It is ridiculous that people feel less about their music just because it doesn't sell out right away, just because they can't move all the product within a week or a day or whatever the fuck they've the weird goal they've set for themselves. That is not an indication of how good your music is. It is not it's not an accurate way to measure who you are as an artist. Okay, I think that there's a little bit
Well
too
said.
much focus on moving items as quick as possible and getting to make a post about how quick you sold out. It's not as important as you really think it is. It feels good and it's great when it happens, but you cannot place your worth only on that, because I will tell you right now that most of the best albums ever written, they did not do well right away, and it took them a long time to really catch on. And the artists that do sell out their stuff right away really quickly nowadays, I can tell you right now that they didn't do that right away. It wasn't like that right away. And the early days of the vaporwave scene, like when we first started doing this stuff, it took fucking months to move these products, a long time for anything to really move or to be picked up on. So just don't focus so much on how quickly you're moving your product. It's not a representation of how good you are as an artist and what you have to offer. Second thing I want to say about that, second hot take, I don't really give a fuck if you sell a lot of albums. Whoa. It doesn't matter. It so doesn't matter. Speaking as someone who does a lot of IRL work, in the real world, a lot of shows, a lot of things like that, people in the real world, you know what, man? That doesn't have anything to do with what your draw is going to be. And that doesn't have to do with how good a performer you're going to be either. I think one of the big issues is that people get a little bit too comfortable that they sold a lot of albums and now they think that they're a fucking big star and they're really cool and this and that. And then they can't fucking perform live, or they don't know how to perform live, or they're not confident live performers, or they don't have any fucking clue about what to do live, or no one even comes to see them. Honestly, like, I can tell you right now that in the real world, it doesn't matter that you sold 50 or 100 copies of your tape to like people who are collectors. Like, they're not going to be at your show because they're spread around the world. You know what I'm saying? So I think people need to focus a little bit less on how quickly they can move their products and a little bit more on thinking about how they're going to translate what they do to a live audience. You know what I mean? You got to start thinking about that, because if all you're thinking about is moving your product and doing this and pushing that, well, guess what? That's great, but you are selling yourself short because you are not reaching as big an audience as you can possibly reach. Because at the end of the day, like, why George is so successful is not because he was able to move a lot of products right away. Is because George worked on a way of presenting his music live. George worked on stage presence. George worked on working out the bugs. Yeah, Equip did too.
And
Equip
DDS.
is a great Equip. It does a great job at the stage presence thing, and a great job at figuring out how to translate what he does live. But
he does.
I want to get back to George just because George has been doing it for the longest, and George didn't sell out all his stuff right away either. Let me tell you another thing about George Clanton. I've known that guy since 2010 when we started all this stuff, right? When he was Mirror Kisses, you know what I mean? Do you know how much like George had to struggle to get an audience? A long time. It wasn't until like 2016 that he even started breaking through. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
So like, you think that like people like George sold out the first time he released that Mirror Kisses LP? He did it by himself, right? And he self-released it, and that didn't sell out right away. The East Spree 7-inch didn't sell out right away when that first got released. But George,
I remember the funding video for that with the
18
karat bear in the background and him going, "I'm George Clanton."
You got to realize that there's a lot of stuff George worked on with his stage presence, how to run the live show, how to do the vocals, what kind of effects to use on his vocals to make it translate well to a better audience, what to do live, what not to do live, to understand the limitations of his performance and to do something to counter it, right? There's only so many things he can do live. If he wants to jump around and get people's attention and, he's not going to be able to play instruments, right? So it's like, well, I'll have the sampler here, but then I'll have this background with the lights behind me, and I'll work on my stage presence to push everything. So I just think that a lot of people are worrying way too much about how quickly they're going to sell their album and not enough about how they're going to get new fans outside this immediate world of Twitter and Reddit, et cetera, et cetera. If you just always just playing to the vaporwave that's right in front of you, the audience that's directly in front of you, like, you're really selling yourself short, and you're just going to sit there and wait for people to come to you when you could be going out there. When I started Terminally Chill, I had just come off a few-year hiatus from doing music, from being involved in music, and so I was able to build up the following for Skeleton Lipstick and Terminally Chill initially by working on the live presentation of Terminally Chill. You know what I mean? I didn't even get back on. What about
playing ska shows? Are you going to talk about the ska shows, please?
No, we're not going to do that right now.
Hey, thanks for the
But,
follow,
like, I didn't
Spooky Electric,
even
by the
start
way.
Twitter until after Electronicon 1 because I've been told for years to do it, but I didn't. So I was getting big audiences without having to even tap into the vaporwave sphere at the current vaporwave sphere, at least, right?
Right.
So it's really important that you focus a little less on the albums you're moving and maybe a little bit more. Like if you want to be a big star or whatever, for lack of a better metaphor, you got to start thinking about what you're going to do to translate this live. What you're going to do to work on your stage presence and your charisma live. Oh, what's going on?
Oh, you just roboted a little bit.
I roboted a little bit?
Back.
All right.
You're back.
Back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody has perfect internet, even in 2021.
But like once again, like honestly, like I really don't give a fuck about how many records you sell, like at all. It doesn't mean you're going to be a good performer. It doesn't even mean you're going to be a good
maybe
draw.
A bunch of scalpers bought them. Who knows?
I mean, no. I mean, it's like a nice. It's very good feeling when it happens, and it's a nice little Girl Scout badge to have. But at the end of the day, like it doesn't mean that much in the real world. A lot less than you really think it does. Like I mean, it really doesn't. Like you could come to Terminally Chill and DJ there, and maybe you sold like hundreds of records, hundreds of LPs, et cetera, and like you just might do like a really shitty job DJing, or like you just might not know how to DJ, read a crowd. You might have no charisma. You may have zero charisma on stage, and let me tell you, people would no one even know who you are, really. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people come to the Terminally Show. They're art students. They're people who go to parties, you know what I mean? They're your people that have been like kind of won over from coming to this party, and they're not gonna like know everything about you. You're not gonna be able to rest your laurels on like whatever Twitter following you have worldwide, you know what I mean? But after I say that, it is still really cool that you sold out your album. That's a great job. I'm not denigrating that. That's fantastic, and I'm very proud when it happens to me too, but I do understand that it's the IRL world and the URL world are different.
Sleep Pattern has a really cool comment. A lot of cool comments in the thread. Sleep Pattern says it's called "Hang Out with Visualists." That's how you transition to live.
Yeah. Now it's not. You got to hang out with the visualists, and if you're gonna do like a live show, you got to work with your visualists too to come up with the vision for what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like if you really want to do like a straight up stage show, honestly, like I think you got to work out the themes for what the show is going to be. You have to work out the way everything's going to go, where it's going to start, what the middle is going to be, what the end is going to be. And I think you need to work closely with the visualist to do that. At like a dance party or a big event, that's fine. You can each person can do their thing. But if you're planning to do like some sort of show that you do, you're gonna like. I think a lot of you have watched like Porter Robinson recently at the Secret Sky thing, and now you're all fucking inspired and shit. Well, all right, that takes a lot of work. You think everything he did was planned. Every visual was planned. Every song was planned. The way that he was going to make you feel, it was all planned. So it's like, don't just get up there and be like, oh, I really like that. I'll do that too. Like, well, you're going to do that, man. You got to put in the work. Okay.
True.
Anyway, we got to bring on our buddy soon.
All right. Everybody say hello to... Once I find out how to take the static away, Yuni Wa. What's up, Yuni Wa? You can unmute yourself. Yay.
There we go.
Hey, so glad to have you here, man. A little throat, I see.
Yeah.
Based on what you said in the chat.
Just a little bit.
I'm gonna catch up with you up here in a little bit. I'm gonna try to behave myself for about the next 45 minutes. But we're excited to have you on, man. Some of the pre-chat conversation seems super promising. For those of you who don't know, Yuni Wa is a founding father and has dipped his feet in so many different movements and so many different genres. Yuni Wa has a very large, very dedicated following. And Yuni Wa has played live at Vaporspace St. Louis for Ronnie, and performed in a handful of URL shows as well, no?
Yeah, I've done a lot of Twitch festivals as of like pandemic, and quarantine happening. So, you
gotta do what you gotta do, right? So we're happy to have you here. I think a lot of people have tuned in specifically because you were going to be here.
Of course.
And I'm seeing some names that I have not seen in here before, so we're excited to have you guys. Don't hold anything back. This is a very interactive show, Uni, so there's going to be things people are going to ask, and I'm going to... You're tuned in right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you can see the Twitch chat. There you go. There you go. So feel free to jump in and, like, answer people's questions. Feel free to...
So So Uni, what do you think about live performances? Like, how have you felt about adjusting to the idea of like maybe doing more live shows, things like that? Like, do you think about it a lot?
Back here in Arkansas, I had already done like so many shows. You feel me?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
State. And I started doing out-of-state shows literally last year.
Yeah.
That's something I've been wanting to do for so long. I had practiced live sets in my room and shit. I already know like the flow of my music and was like,
hell yeah.
You know. So I've always really focused on that. I still like will just practice and record myself mix, and I always felt like it is an integral part to like being an artist, to like having a interesting mix of music is something that really draws people in when they see art and shit. So yeah.
Hell yeah.
You work on a lot.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The chat just mentioned that you are a little quiet, so I boosted your mic a little bit. Actually, it's showing. It's showing in the broadcast too. But yeah, people want to hear what you're saying, man.
My bad. I gotta be louder.
No apology necessary.
You actually do work within a whole bunch of different types of styles. Honestly, like all of your albums are quite different from each other. Do you do that is that a purposeful choice so that when you play a live show, you have a lot of different things you can select from depending on like what kind of vibe you're feeling?
Yeah, exactly. That's very much the reason why. I like having, choices. You feel me? Options to go down a completely different line of atmospheres and shit. Cause
bro.
The tone and the atmosphere. I really focus on that, especially like. Even when I make music, I don't make music how I used to make music. Say, for instance, like a lot of people know me for songs that I made when I was a teenager, like So 1989 and All About You, all those songs I was like a teenager. And
are you saying you blew up early?
Kind of.
Hell yeah, bro.
I didn't feel like I really blew up. Like I feel like it just kind of got a buzz. I don't feel like it was just
yes, sir.
Up. But that's when I like really started getting comfortable with sending my music to Artsy and just really putting it out there on Bandcamp and all that. And
when would you say, if you don't mind me asking, when would you say you kind of started in earnest? And when would you say like that arc just kind of like you blew up per se? What's the timeline?
Okay, so it's like I'm at the Boys and Girls Club studio probably 2012, 2010, 2011.
Oh, wow. That's a long time.
That's early.
Oh, my God. How old were you then?
I was probably like 12 or 13.
Okay.
Wow.
And I was playing drums. I was playing bass guitar. I learned how to do that.
Oh, jeez.
My grandmother was a gospel pianist. She gave me some
badass.
She gave me some of her piano books, and I've seen her, I just watch her play, and I kind of just play on the piano myself. And I probably started getting consistently into producing 2013, 2014. And that's around the time I discovered also, 2012, 2013 is probably the time I discovered vaporwave and future funk, and that's when I probably started releasing early shit like Fantasy. A lot of people don't remember like my early future funk and shit because it was really bad, and like it kind of pushed off to like like before All About You and So Much Saying I had to really like I had to really struggle and like kind of suck. I was aware of it, but I pressed through it. And probably around on the cusp of 2013 is when I really started getting it. In the 2013, going to 2014.
Very nice.
And I started getting the flow around everything I'm doing.
Let me ask you a question. That's a really young age to start getting into producing. And, when you become a producer, when people become a producer, it sort of becomes almost a lifelong thing because unlike being in a band, production is something you can kind of do anytime, like on your own terms. And so I always wondered about the people like you who started young and have kept doing it. And do you ever feel like it's tough when you get a little bit of of notoriety at a young age, because you're like, oh man, everybody's watching what I'm doing, and you kind of like almost grow up in front of people musically, as opposed to artists like, I don't know, say point. George or myself or DDS, who we were older when we got into music or when we started getting notoriety. We'd already kind of worked out what we sounded like, what we were comfortable with, and you know, we're ready. But like sometimes I feel like it's a hard thing when you're young, because you're like, it's just like you said earlier, it's like no one knows my early stuff, that wasn't very good, and like, I push that off to the side. So is that like a little bit of added pressure to think like, you know, like I'm like kind of growing up artistically in front of everybody? Do you ever think about that?
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely added pressure if you let it get to you, of course. I kind of let it fuel me though, but
interesting.
You know, I like performing under pressure in those type of circumstances, specifically just because this makes the music more interesting anyway.
Sure.
And it's also just like that pressure's always been there, kind of, no matter what, no matter like how old I was. Mm-hmm. Honestly, like in perspective, like 2014, I was probably 17, 18, and like I'm about to turn 24, so it's like I look back at all my.
Yeah.
And it's it's your birthday tomorrow, is it not?
Yeah. So
happy early birthday.
Happy birthday in the chat for Uni, guys.
Yeah.
I look back at my early catalog though, and I'm just like, you know, it's, you know, I'm happy with it, and even though there was always like a consistent pressure to either reach a specific standard or exceed said standard, you know, I know at the end of the day, I just, you know, did my best. That's what my main focus was.
That's a good attitude.
It was getting as close to perfect that's as healthy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a good way of putting it.
I'm a perfectionist to a degree. Like, I know when to like chill, you know, and just let it ride. So.
Well, is there anything that you've ever made that, like, I don't want to say like that you're ashamed of, but that you wish you could go back and maybe do different or improve in any way?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you've grown over the years. You've perfected your craft. You've diversified a lot. And like Chris pointed out, you've done it online in front of everybody, at least everybody that was paying attention. Is there anything, do you ever go back and you're like, ugh, like I wish I could rework that, or like I don't want this to ever see the light of day?
There's songs like Sky and Feel Free. Like, I don't really like Feel Free that much. It's like, I really wish it sounded different.
Oh, I'm sure somebody fucking loves it. Probably somebody's favorite song.
A lot of people tell me, they're like, yo, I love Feel Free. I'm just like, oh, really? It's cool.
That's cool, man. If it works for them, it works for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, half the thing about art is it's going to be interpreted so many different ways, and even we as the artist may interpret it out. We think that we have the best interpretation of it because we created it, but at the end of the day, once you put it out there, it belongs to everybody. So maybe it doesn't always work for you, but it does work for somebody else. I think you said you had a really good...
songs belong to the streets?
I think they belong to the world. Once art is put out there in the world, it belongs to everybody. You know what I mean? It kind of does. So, but I thought that you had a really good attitude when you said, you know, I did my best, and I can look back on it and say I did my best. And I also liked what you said about being a perfectionist, but knowing when to stop. I think that's like one of the most important things to learn as an artist, is to know when to stop. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, to just be happy with what you produced and to not keep nitpicking it and to not keep working it over and working it over, but to understand when it's over is such a big lesson to learn. And it's pretty fucking cool that you know that. That's a lot of people really don't. It takes a while for people to learn that sort of thing, and at some point you have to just stop and put it out there.
Yeah, exactly. Vapor Mill's heading out. See you later, bro.
Later, buddy. Thanks for stopping by, man.
EXC to MP3 says, once an artist puts it out, it belongs to PZA.
Oh, funny. Ha ha ha.
You know, he's from Arkansas. He's from Arkansas too.
Oh, he is?
Hey, you're from Arkansas, bro? I didn't know that.
From Little Rock.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No wonder you were like, oh, what time is it Central? You're the first person that we've had on here that's not Eastern time.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm glad we don't have to keep you up as late as I kept up those first 4 people.
Do you have any complaints about the vaporwave scene? You know, you're very beloved here, and you have a you have a lot of room to do cool music and make interesting things, and there's always an audience that appreciates it. But do you have any complaints about the vaporwave scene? You want to talk about anything at all?
Um, really, mostly not. But at the most, I would say that that there's a lot of shit that's always going on behind the scenes in any scene, right?
True.
Of course.
Um, I think that's always been a constant thing in every music scene.
That's absolutely right. I think that's the thing that sometimes people forget is they just look at their one scene they're in and they think it's just like, oh, it's so awful here. Oh, there's so many complaints. And I'm like, motherfucker, that's everywhere. It's like,
there's like fascist metalheads. Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, man.
There's a whole set of fascist vaporwave like listeners and artists.
Not very much of it, thankfully.
People always complain about gatekeeping, or they always complain about, well, there's someone who's more popular and they're the one in charge and I don't like that. And like, I just think the people who complain about that stuff the most are clearly the people who have never been in any other music scene. Like, you know what I mean? Never been involved in any other music scene. Like, you think that there's anything different about vaporwave than there would be in another scene? You're crazy. The one thing that's different about vaporwave is you have so many people here who are open to new kinds of music because they've studied a lot of other music before coming to vaporwave. Like, people don't even know how good they have it in this scene sometimes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you think that... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's like people try to sometimes act snooty about it because it's like it's an obscure genre, so not everybody. It's like a goal.
Let me keep my little secret to myself so no one else can enjoy it.
And I don't know. It's. I mean, it's at times it gets wonky and weird, but like I couldn't say that about any different about anything else in this atmosphere of industry. So.
You don't think there's any uniquely cringy behavior in the vaporwave or future funk?
There's a lot of,
and you make lo-fi hip hop a little bit too, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I started really doing lo-fi hip hop actually mostly.
Yeah. I mean, is there weird cringy behavior in that scene too? I mean, since you have your hands.
All of them. I mean, this is all of them. It's like, it's a lot of gatekeeping when it comes to like fucking YouTube channels and shit like that.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Oh, and Spotify playlists and shit too.
Yeah, I was gonna say playlists too, dog.
Dude, Groovy Kaiju has told us a lot about that.
Yeah, Groovy has a lot of knowledge on a lot of it. He's, I've had some talks with him. He's definitely said some real shit.
Love that guy.
Yeah,
so positive too.
He's the very best. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What do you feel like that there are any differences that you experience? Because I'm gonna get into a hot take right now, okay? Do you feel that there are differences that you experience? And I'm gonna go there right now. You're a black artist. Do you ever feel like that there are things that you get left out of, or do you feel ever like there's a difference with you because of that in certain scenes, whether it's vaporwave, lo-fi hip hop, or anything like that? Do you ever feel that and like just be like, man, I know, like I don't know how to address this.
The electronic dominant genres.
Really?
Mostly. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's mostly like the more EDM, like electronic shit.
Yeah.
Like it comes with the territory.
It comes with the territory.
It's like electronic music is mostly like a lot of white folks. So
I was gonna say I want to hear more about this.
And the thing is that all you could do at the end is just make the best music you can. Someone's willing to listen, and it's there's definitely always been gatekeeping though. Like I'm pretty, I've been lucky enough to also just have people fuck with me off heart, just like, yo, I'll fuck with this. I've been lucky enough, been blessed enough to have that too. You feel me?
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of skill involved too, man.
Yeah. I mean, but those people taking the time out their day to to even give it a chance. It's enough in itself. You feel me?
It's incredible, really. When you play music. When someone plays your music, they're making a choice. Like, they are choosing amongst a history of music that came before you and that is available, and they select you. Every time you make a choice to listen to a song, like, you're choosing against all music ever written to put that song on. And that's
True.
That's incredible. It's incredible that someone like puts on something you wrote. You know what I mean? Like it's like a small miracle when they have every other song by every other artist at their fingertips, and they're like, "I'll put you on today." Like, that's huge.
Oh, like Quiz has a great question.
Oh yeah.
What's up?
What's the biggest thing? What's the biggest thing you might be holding back? Non-white artists in the scene, since everyone talks about how vaporwave is so white. I mean, I think that a lot more black artists could definitely be added to more, URL festivals or just IRL festivals when they start. I just feel like they should be given more opportunities.
110%.
Do you think there's enough encouragement of black or other people of color to get themselves involved in this music? Do you think they have enough people encouraging them?
It's kind of interesting because a lot of like vaporwave music is slowed down, like African American R&B.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I mean, in the sense that the music is inherently like
black inspired
into the genre, yeah, but like, yeah, we don't always capitalize off of it. I could name very few black vaporwave before feature funk artists, really. So I got Ruby, No X, and all the other homies, But that's like can't, it's like a count on my finger, on my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking.
Yeah, I know, right? Like it's
I've been around. I'm passionate about it. I started when I was a kid. I'm looking. I'm searching for the shit I like. I'm a good music connoisseur. I just go let my algorithm play. I listen to new shit all the time. I'm just like, I'm open.
Yeah, man.
Groovy Kaiju has a really good question down there too. When you finish your thought.
Let me see. If I could ask on the Molo podcast, you mentioned how it's odd that vaporwave is a genre built on non-black people sampling black artists. Could you expand on that?
I think that's what you were just talking about, right?
Yeah, I was kind of talking about that. I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, definitely like hella POC inspired, like Asian and black artists, Hispanic artists, alike. Largely, it's a lot of that, I think that, yeah, I mean, it's disproportionate amount of just artists that are usually just white, though, that are doing that. And it gets them way bigger.
Do you think that could change? Do you think we are moving in a better direction? Do you think that the more vaporwave expands? Like, I can tell you that I know at my parties, it's a huge mix of people. It's very fluid. All different colors, all different types of people, all different types of sexuality, all different types of ways of expressing themselves. Do you think the more that we do this in the IRL world, the more we can move away from, just specifically catering to that same vapor crowd over and over and over again that's on the internet that just draws in more people like them, but actually bringing it out there and putting it out there for people and marketing it well as like a party that that encourages fluidity and then encourages involvement too. That's the other thing about vaporwave. Vaporwave gets you involved. So do you think that if we do this more often out there, if we really put it out there more often, you think that maybe we can get some more people involved that don't always look the same?
Yeah, I do agree. You know what I'm saying? Like getting people like, Paraguay, Aquafina, rest in peace. Yeah. People like South, like the PLC, like, South America. Definitely like just, making it open and pushing them. Like I definitely agree with Ronnie just said in the chat.
Yeah.
He just the shit. He said, I spoke with a man last week who said that multiple generations of black artists he said, who said that multiple generations of gatekeeping black artists out of the equal access and opportunities in the music industry will only be solved with generations of work to include and uplift them. And it needs to start by making sure all children have equal and fair access to all the instruments, means, and technologies for making music. Honestly, a thing to add to what he's talking about, when I was in middle school, I wanted to be in band, right? And so, I'm from Little Rock. I ain't grow up in like money and shit. I got like a job and I fucking bought all my music equipment when I was 16. I got my first job when I was 16.
Holy shit.
My keyboard. But when I wanted to do band, I couldn't even pay to rent the instrument. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't even be able to do that. So it's like definitely times where like just in life, you know what I'm saying, some shit got in the way, but I didn't let it just stop it. But it was a thing that was kind of out of my control, you know, at the time. So, but yeah.
Some wise words.
Yeah, how did you decide you wanted to start producing music? I know you said your mother was a gospel choir pianist, but what made you decide to start producing music, like to actually get on like computers or synthesizers?
I have been flirting with the idea since like 2011 and 2012, you know, and when I got deeper into it and I started doing more shit, I started having more fun with it. I started creating concepts around everything I was doing. It was like
concepts, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like you were already going to be a vaporwave artist eventually if you're already thinking about concepts around your stuff.
Concept album. There's this scene.
It's like I have even like a big aspect of the shit is like context. I have a series of albums called Context. Context 4 drops this Friday.
Yeah.
And it's like but concepts though also. Well, you know, there's an album called Data Our Program Is Forever. And I think that was like one of the biggest albums I ever did. And
yeah, it's a very good album.
Yeah, it was just like, you know, I wanted to come in on basically I got into producing, and when I created the concepts and I created the context around everything I was doing, it gave me structure. So after structure that I created from the shit, I just felt like, okay, it gave me more direction, because what I lacked originally was just direction overall.
Yeah.
The more I could refine what I actually was trying to interpret artistically, it was like more basically how I could, like, you know, be like, take it on and be like, okay, because I would produce for a couple weeks and then I'd stop and be like, I don't want to do this anymore.
But that's the thing about production is you could go back to it.
Exactly.
Like that's actually the really unique thing about production in general is the fact that it really does build discipline and it really does build structure, like you just said, because you literally are structuring a song together. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's as opposed to a normal instrument where you play it and you're like, I better write down those chords I wrote, or I better grab a 4-track recorder and then maybe I'll record it badly or whatever. But with production, it's like you start it and then you're like, oh, I can open it up and it's just right where I left it.
Yeah, and I still use analog because analog's amazing. It's so fun. I have like an album, one of my next albums after this current one. It's gonna have some analog material.
Oh damn! Like
yeah.
what?
Yeah, I actually only write with synthesizers.
I do that.
What are you gonna be working into the mix?
Working into the mix?
Yeah.
It's gonna be like a lot of lo-fi, a lot of vaporwave, very like.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of southern characteristics too. So like
Interesting.
Can't wait to hear it. I have a question for you, Yuni. Who do you usually, or do you even at all, usually run your like early work by anyone? Like, do you usually show stuff to somebody to be like, does this sound good? Should I run with this? Do you have any like close confidants that you kind of show stuff to like get their reaction?
Yeah, my boy's on the other side of the room right now.
Oh, word. Okay. Have you ever had an experience like trying to show your stuff to somebody that it kind of felt like a throwing pearls before swine type of thing?
I don't know. You know, I very rarely show it to people. Sometimes I do, but like, you know, I only send it sometimes to people through text and shit to see if what they say from off that. I'll call them, you know. Stuff like that because of the pandemic, of course.
True, yeah. That probably makes things kind of complicated.
Well, not necessarily, but, you know, I'll send the links over to certain homies and I'll see what they think. And they'll tell me, you know, they'll give me the...
Are they able to be, like, brutally, like, hey, bro, you need to go back to the drawing board, or...
Yeah, I definitely had that. I definitely got that. I have had homies.
Hopefully you don't hear that very often.
I don't. But I've had it before.
I have a question. Would you, if you wrote something that you really liked, right, and you thought was really good, and you sent it to somebody, and they're like, I don't like it, would you be like, oh, I better go back to the drawing board, or be like, fuck it, I like it, I'm just putting it out there?
I fucking like it. I'm fucking putting it out there.
Exactly. Right. And that's exactly what is like when you're an artist who knows your voice, is that I honestly don't give a fuck about most people's criticism.
That's like being in a major.
I don't need somebody else to tell me how to make music. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'll make the music the way I want to make the music. And I've been doing this long enough, and I've been writing stuff long enough that I kind of understand what my voice is. I know what I want to sound like. And I don't give a fuck about criticism. Like, I never understood the idea of being like, tell me what to write. Tell me how to do this better. Like, if I need help with something, I'll ask for it. Like, if somebody does something really dope, I might ask them how they did that, right? Or like I might ask them what plugins they use to make it sound like this. But like, I don't ever fucking send my things to other people. I mean, you know, I do what you do, which is like I send it to my friends, and like, because I think that they'll like it, and I like seeing people get excited that are my friends about what I'm making, and I appreciate the encouragement, but I don't expect them to start like picking it apart and like being like, well, your snare right here needs to be a little. Fuck you. My snare is exactly how I want it to be, and I don't give a fuck. My snare's exactly, you don't know, and I'm like, you don't know the fuck you're talking about, because I made it and I know what it wants to sound like, and I've been doing this long enough where I know if it's bad. You know what I mean? Like, I know if it's bad. If I'm sending it to you, it's because I've gone to the point, because Yuni, you know how it is. Like, you're your own worst critic, right? You're so much worse of a critic than anyone else could be. I literally
right, like, you're already fighting against yourself. You don't need somebody else shitting on your work too.
No, this whole shit about like people send out their music and they want suggestions. Fuck you. I don't want any fucking suggestions. I know what I'm doing, and if I need a suggestion, I'll ask for it. Yuni, what do you think?
I fucking feel you, dog.
Thank you, right? Like, you know, when I'm talking,
honestly,
go ahead.
Honestly, man, it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, you gotta be so in your bag. You gotta be undeniable about your sauce. And
yeah,
shit,
man, you can't let somebody's dumbass opinion
exactly.
take you
And like, when you're working on it, you gotta be undeniable about your sauce. And when you're working on it, you're still fucking mixing that sauce, right? You're not ready to fucking slather it on to people so they can feel it. You know what I mean? Like, you're still working on it. And like, you know when it's not right yet, you know you're still cooking it, you know what I mean? And when it's done being cooked or almost done being cooked, that's when you start sending it to people, just because like you think it's really good and you know they're gonna like it. I send stuff to people like what you were just saying. He's like, yeah, I know it's good. Of course you know it's good. You're done, and that's when you start sending it to people when you know it's good.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's
and like when people start laying criticism on you, guess what, man? Make your own fucking song then.
Yeah. Hey, you actually had a really good tweet the other day. You asked people.
I did?
Yeah, well, you know, for once. You asked people, hey, does your family like... Sorry, does your family listen to your music? And that was a really good tweet. I want to ask Yuni, hopefully this doesn't get you in any trouble, does your family listen to your music? Or do they have any thoughts on your music?
That's a good question. What about that?
At first, they weren't really that interested in it. But
my parents aren't interested in my music, don't worry.
As time went on, they got more interested in it, though.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty smooth sounding shit. I mean, it's not like you're in a harsh noise band, you know, making like power electronics with contact mics and shit. I mean, it's pretty, it's smooth stuff.
So the thing that my parents aren't interested in my music, okay? Like, they don't really care about all the weird arty stuff that I do very much. And I think it's not that they don't like, I mean, they don't like it. They don't listen to it. It wouldn't be their cup of tea anyway. But it's like, I don't really make harsh noise either. I think it's more what parents don't like is the fact that you're putting all this energy into something that they consider to be a kid's game. You know what I mean? Because they don't make music. They don't do this. This isn't part of their world. So parents don't like the stuff, not necessarily because they don't like the music, but because they don't like you wasting your time making this music. They look at it and they're like, shouldn't you be cleaning your house? Or like, shouldn't you be going back to school? Like, shouldn't you be building a career? I'm like, and like, I have built a career, and they're still looking at me like, well, okay, but shouldn't you be like, you know, studying when you get home? Like, that's really what parents don't like. Even more so than not liking the music is they don't like that you spend your time doing it in the first place. Do you know what I mean? Because they're like,
that's time that you could be Marry, Kill with a car insurance commercial.
They're like, well, that's the thing. They're like, you could be working on your credit right now. Why are you making music? Like, shouldn't you be taking a course to improve yourself? You know what I mean? They don't see the music as improvement, which music is improvement because it puts you more into
assets. It's like you get royalties.
Yeah.
Like there's like royalty systems and all the like, you know, royalty rates and all that stuff. Like, you know, like I've gotten advances on my distribution shit. Like, you know, it's its own industry. It's its own, you know.
Absolutely. So do your parents see that now?
my dad does for the first time ever. I was just like,
Wow,
Nice.
for the first time ever. Nice. Congratulations. That's a big deal to convince them that you're like, yeah, man, this weird stuff I'm doing online, it really does mean something. It's a real world out there and a real people that listen to me. You know, when you see those people buying my album or supporting my things or following me or anything or interviewing me on a show right now, that means people care about what I do. You know, it touches people. And, you know, art's really important because it puts us, parents sometimes might not think that creating art or doing music or whatever is that important, but it is because, it creates you, it puts you in contact with yourself. It makes you know who you are. It really creates your voice. It gives you confidence. It puts you in touch with your imagination, and that makes you a unique person with something to offer the world, as opposed to just doing work all day, as opposed to just
making some other man richer.
Yeah, a cog, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, this is you becoming an individual. This is you becoming something more than just another animal. You know, it makes you human, puts you in contact with yourself. And that doesn't just have to be making art. That can be experiencing art too, It doesn't have to, you don't have to make art to do this, to put in contact with yourself. You can experience art. And I get more almost from experiencing the art than I do from making it sometimes,
I actually have a question with regards to that. Uni, what kind of music do you like to listen to?
Oh, yeah.
I like to listen to a lot of Knowledge and like Flying Lotus.
Oh, that's good stuff. Knowledge of Flying Lotus. Knowledge of the X.
I told you guys, I like surfing.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like a lot of rap music, a lot of hip hop, a lot of hip hop, a lot of electronic, obscure shit, rock shit. I want to say Skylar Spins.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
It's another guy who got got really big pretty quick at a young age too, and has also had to kind of develop in front of everybody as well artistically.
Mm-hmm.
Are you much of a Stones Throw Records fan?
Oh,
I love Stones still, like, because they have Dilla and Mad Libs, like catalogs, and
for sure.
I'm a huge Dilla fan.
Yeah.
Man, I'm fans of some people in the fucking chat, like fucking Groovy and Lux, Luxury Elite.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got some heavyweights in the house today. Mittens is in the chat. Actually, Mittens makes lo-fi hip hop.
Oh, shit!
Yeah,
Mittens is here? That's awesome.
Yeah, Mittens just played a show yesterday. Actually, it was not lo-fi hip hop, but it went the fuck off.
Can I ask you a question, Uni? What's your process like? Like, how often do you work on music? Are there weeks where you're like, I can't do it this week? Or are there times when you get big inspiration?
As I get older, it readjusts as I get older. It's like I don't make music the same. Like, each year it changes, like, differently. Like, I take longer periods of time to chill in between each album, like, the older I get.
Yeah.
That's why, when I first came in, I was releasing, like, beat tapes, like, every fucking 2 months. Like,
they have a huge
a lot of people did that at first.
From the time I was, like, probably, like, 17 to the time I was probably about 20. I released, like, almost a beat tape, like 8 beat tapes, 7 beat tapes a year.
Yeah.
Do you think that was you looking for your voice, trying to figure out what works for you, what you did like, what you didn't like?
It was a mix of that, and sometimes I had already realized what it was at that time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and because, a lot of the early shit's very abstract and very lo-fi, very, I focused on the atmosphere, really. But yeah, over time, I definitely found, like, the voice a lot more. And that's when I started doing, like, album series, like when I started doing Chill Days volumes. Like, I got, did 3 of those. And when I started doing Context, when I started doing Ethereal Lover, that's when I, like, really was just like, this is, like, my thing, multi-instrumentality. It's like most multi-instrumentalist. Like I'm like this iguana, basically, that's constantly changing colors, whatever set that I'm on. That's what my music is meant to be. It's like, kind of just meant to blur the lines of what you perceive as most artists. It's like, trying to be multiple artists and one artist.
Oh shit, Quiz has an awesome question for you. Are you seeing this?
What's this?
I got a question for you, Yuni. You are one of the big names in the non-anime future funk. Is that an important distinction to you? Where do you get aesthetic inspiration from, and who else is out there with the unique take on the style?
That's a lot of questions. Go for it.
Yeah.
God damn.
That's like,
Yeah, that's
like
some
4
straight
questions.
Fuego, bro.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, is an important distinction to me to be a big name in non-anime feature funk. It's not really the distinction I really cared about. I mean, kind of. I didn't want to be too anime because at one point it got really droning to me to like just use anime.
It's a little overdone.
You don't want to be locked into one aesthetic, as you kind of said many times now, right?
Yeah.
You're an iguana. You want to be able to change your colors.
Yeah, I want to be able to reinvent myself whenever I feel.
You don't want to paint yourself into a corner, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the next thing is where do you get your inspirations, basically?
Like I get a lot from Knowledge and Fly Lotus.
Those are 2 artists with a lot of different sounds happening in their music. Like you can literally pick sections of their songs and be like, that's a vibe right there. You know what I mean? And then later on in the song, like that's another vibe right there. Yeah. So for sure. And that's probably a good thing that you're in vaporwave too, because you have the room to evolve, not even evolve, but just to move laterally in different directions. You know, I mean, you're evolving no matter what, but as you evolve, you can move laterally and do different styles. You can go back and try this style again, move over here, do that style again.
Yeah, and, it's like my new album. Like it's like, man, I can't wait for it to release. But it's.
Do we have a release date?
It's this Friday.
It's this Friday.
That's what I'm talking about.
I really loved. I think it was the last album was a lot of synth-based sort of compositions, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do an album like that?
I hadn't been thinking about it, and I was just like, I mean, I threw some future garage and techno in there, like type shit in the house in there too.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I've really been liking future garage and house and stuff like that way more recently.
Mm-hmm.
I've been really like putting like my vibes into that, because that's like seeming like that's my bag. That's like my shit right now. Like my next album has a lot of house and like techno sounding type industrial.
I'm fucking sold.
Interesting.
It's like gets like that in trap, trap music, and I kind of pivot in between those and kind of like hip hop influences and classical influences. It's a lot. It's 20 tracks.
It's 20 tracks?
Yeah.
Jesus. Wow. That's gonna be a hell of a bag. Andy JPG says, Uni, which of your albums did you enjoy making the most?
I probably gotta say Context 4, because that was the first album I started making when I was like actually starting to travel and do, I like the fact that I was able to like go experience different atmospheres and environments.
Interesting. Were you traveling for shows or just traveling in general?
I went to Florida. I was staying with my manager at the time that I'm no longer with, and I played 2 shows in Orlando.
Yeah. I have questions for you. I have questions for you next. Now that you said that.
Yeah, because I was staying in Winter Park, and we drive into Orlando, and I played off Wall Street, downtown Orlando. Was in some bars, you feel me? And I work on music out there, and I go to Miami, and I go visit my distribution company in Tampa, because I'm with Symphonic Distribution, and I have somebody that shouts out Keith. Keith is like the guy at the company, great guy. He's the guy that helps me with all my stuff, and went to LA and stayed with the homies and made music and went to the studio and came up with new ideas. And I felt like, I'm glad I got time. I gave myself time to work with this, because it took about 2 years.
Yeah. I have a few questions for you in a minute when we're finished. Question 1 from me is, did doing these live did two things actually. It did doing these live shows and also now starting to work with management and distribution, did that inform a little bit how you would start writing music? Would you start thinking more about like, well, I'm thinking more about how this is going to go live? Like I'm thinking about like what live audiences are going to be like when this happens? And also like, am I thinking about like, is this more professional now because I'm working with management?
I was already thinking like about the live aspect way before then.
Oh shit!
But like no, once you started actually doing live stuff too, did that even alter it a little bit more?
Oh, I had already been doing live stuff though for years prior. I had already been doing festivals in my hometown. I'm in home state, and
so like, you'd already started writing even before. Once you started doing the Yuni Wa music, you were already thinking about how this would translate to live and like what you would make and how it would be done live.
Yeah, I did. I would DJ festivals with 300 people and market like.
Damn. That's badass, bro.
Wow.
With like, they have the different tents and it'll be out at night. You know, it's the country down here and shit. So it's like, you go down this long ass trail and they have the lights and all the shit. I had already been deep in that and I always did pretty well. I'd always focused on just like, keeping the movement alive.
You are a professional.
So you were DJing before you started making music?
Huh?
You were DJing before you started making music?
No, I
think before the management.
Before,
yeah,
way before management.
Sorry.
Like,
I have another question about that. Actually, how important has getting a professional involved in helping you with your career been? Because this is, I think, a really good. Wait really quick, because I got more questions for myself too. Like that's why I'm asking you right now. Like I really want to pick your brain about this because I think this is really important information for a lot of us to know about. Speaking as there's a lot of vaporwave artists that are pretty successful, but they're their own cottage industry, right? They've all, myself included, have all just been kind of doing this on our own. We haven't reached out. Maybe occasionally people have reached out to us, but we haven't known what to say, or we weren't sure if we could trust them or not. And I can speak from personal experience that I've had a few people reach out to me or this and that, but like I've never been like, I don't know who this is. Like I don't know if they're going to do this right. I'm doing fine on my own. So has that been a really, has that been really helpful for you? Would you say it's been a really, really good thing for people to do and to look into?
To get management?
Yeah, because like a lot of people are doing well, but they don't have that yet. You know what I mean? They don't have a manager. They don't have publicists or distributors.
I'm gonna give you the most unbiased, like fucking. I gotta keep it 100.
Oh
man.
damn!
Like,
Hot
to
take.
be honest, for years when I was younger, you like the idea of the professionality that came with having that.
Okay.
But it's the things that there's other circumstances you might have come to question because it's always the idea that they're supposed to be professional, but aren't they?
Oh, that's really interesting. Because you said you don't have the same manager that you had initially.
No, I manage myself now.
Oh, okay. Continue then. So you said there's the idea of that, like having the management, having this makes you feel more professional. But what's the reality like occasionally?
It's like it might not go the way you want. They might not do the shit you need, and it might, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's you might not just like the shit that you want to be priority might not be treated priority. So because not everybody, just because you sign with somebody doesn't mean they're just gonna understand you or even be willing to really just listen. It's got to be like, a lot of balance in that department of I'm bringing you on. It's more than I'm taking 20% of your gross.
Wow. Yeah.
Of what you gross yearly, and it's like people want to sign major label deals, and then you got 20%, and then you got taxes, and that's like another 30.
Wow.
It's like you just shit eats up all your money, and it's like you really just need to learn this shit and get a fucking lawyer.
What do you think people should get? Do you think they should get manager or they should get something different?
They should learn as much as possible every day for themselves, but have a lawyer.
A lawyer. So you recommend that if you start getting big in this world and maybe you're moving some product and you want to take yourself to another level, it might not be a bad idea to get like an entertainment lawyer to talk to.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But learn as much as try to manage yourself as much as honestly a lot of people can manage themselves. It's like
So
it's about being dedicated. I know I managed myself for most of my career.
mhm.
You feel me? So it's like the professionality of management, like, you know, I did a lot of what I had already been like reaping the benefits of, like before they came along. So, you know,
Would you say you market yourself pretty aggressively?
not really. I I do market myself more aggressively than I used to, but not aggressively all the time. You know, it's like
Because that's, I
playlist.
think, the biggest struggle for a lot of people, man.
It's like I have a system though. I definitely have a system and a strategy.
Good.
And I definitely take like 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I have specific time periods already set up in my mind before the song is even done.
This is that discipline you were talking about.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I'm thinking about every aspect of when this is going to drop and what information am I going to log into the marketing drivers
Yeah.
to get it to the other end of the people that need to hear it. You feel me?
Yeah, I do.
Like metadata, you got to make sure your metadata is correct. You got to make sure.
Do you have any advice for people that are struggling getting their art out there? I mean, you've been very successful. I mean, without sharing your whole secret, do you have any quick pointers?
Definitely seek out all the resources already available to you because motherfuckers will really try to make you pay for promotion.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was talking to one of my friends who's not really she's a musician, but she doesn't have like social media presence. She's like been out of this whole world for a long time, and she had this idea of like, well, I'll hire a publicist and they'll help me out. And I'm like, do you gotta be fucking kidding me? Like, you can do more. Everything they're gonna do for you is like gonna be all wrong, and like they know you don't know shit, so they're gonna take advantage of you so hard. I'm like,
you're gonna be like,
you're still not gonna be on Pitchfork.
I've had music artist friends that like get a publicist through a management company.
yeah,
And fucking, they're just like, yo, the publicist is supposed to write some post about my music. I read that shit. That shit ain't sound nothing like me.
That's funny.
You gotta do your own copy sometimes. You know what I mean? You gotta do your own copy.
You gotta make it you, man.
Yeah, you gotta.
I'm all about it making it me as possible.
I do.
Well, and
absolutely.
like closed mouths don't get fed. You have to be the squeaky wheel, man. You can't be shy. Has that been difficult at all for you, or has that just kind of come naturally?
No, I'm definitely real kind of shy about like certain shit and just trying to get to know people and all that.
Yeah, I think when it comes to art, like it just kind of forces you. You're like, I care about the art I make. Maybe this isn't me naturally, but it's going to become me because I care a lot about what I've made.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what else was I going to ask? So is there anything that you think that people would need? Like, so obviously not a publicist, probably not a manager. What about like a distributor? You have a distributor. Do you think that people should seek that out to help them?
You need to have a distributor that's going to prioritize, and just not just a distributor, but you need to go somewhere. You need to make a catalog. You need to go somewhere where you can be prioritized.
What's the distributor helped you with mostly? I mean, obviously distribution, but like, what did they do that you couldn't think of?
Playlisting. I actually did also a Amazon.
Playlisting, really?
Yeah. They also gave me opportunity to do a Amazon Music Twitch live stream DJ concert. It was like it was on Twitch, and I did that like in February, and I had the green screen behind me and everything, and I had visuals and all that. That's on YouTube still right now.
Wow.
Channel. But yeah, like Amazon Music wanted me specifically out of the company, and they wanted me to do it, and so I accepted it.
What was your criteria when you were looking for a distributor? Like, what was something in your mind? What did they have to say to you to make you think, okay, these guys are legit, they're going to care about me?
I needed to have a direct line of communication with someone, and I had Keith.
Nice.
And lucky enough, the people that also work there also, like my music too.
That's
good.
important that they like your music,
They're
right?
way more willing to vouch for me and prioritize me because they're the ones pushing all the artists that go through the pipeline and the distribution company. Because there's opportunities coming in. When you have a bigger distribution deal, when you're not just with one like TuneCore or CD Baby or like, you get more opportunities with bigger distribution companies because bigger distribution companies focus on signing bigger acts. Like one. I came to some point. I probably had like 30,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. I was still already doing like a good, amount through all of my SoundCloud, that, and YouTube. So, they already saw promise in me, and so they've just been pushing me.
So you think that once you get to a certain level of followers, listeners, influence, it might not be a bad idea for an artist to start approaching a distributor. That isn't just the ones that you can access on, and anyone can access online. You think that once you get to that point, like it's the next thing you would say, don't get a manager, don't get a publisher, start approaching a distributor.
Like the ones you got.
It's good advice for me and a lot of other people too, in my opinion. I'm interested in what you have to say here.
Yeah, it's like also like ones. Sometimes it's the distribution companies that you have to like apply to.
Yeah. But once you have a reasonable, copy that you can write for yourself and something you can present to them that shows that you're moving records, that shows that you have influence, that shows that you have the numbers, etc., then it's not a bad idea to start thinking about that as the next step.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Dream Gliding has a good question in the chat.
Interesting stuff, man. Thank you for talking about this. I really appreciate this personally, and I'm sure a lot of other people in the chat do. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Dream Gliding says, what kind of advertising has been the most effective for you guys? So it sounds like they're asking both of y'all.
I can answer that too as well, but why don't we talk to Yuni first about that? Like, what do you think?
I've run ads on Google, on YouTube, and Facebook and Instagram, and Instagram is pretty decent. Really just trying to understand your demographic, understand what the people that like your stuff like outside of you. You know what I'm saying? It's like
getting in their shoes.
No matter like on what platform, you need to understand the interest of your demographic and how they live and all that. Like, I think that's the most integral part around like that type of thing.
So I'm going to actually talk about, for my example, for advertising. Let's since he's talking about what advertising music and advertising your art, I'm going to answer it differently, and I'm going to talk about advertising your show or advertising your party, right? So I run, let's talk about that. I run Terminally Chill, the Vaporwave dance party, right? So that happens in Philadelphia and happens in Davis, California. So when I have the Philadelphia party, what I do is I have a targeted ad as well that I create, and I write some interesting copy about it. I have like maybe a moving video, maybe I don't.
Nice.
But what I do is that I do pay for advertising on Facebook, not even too much money, maybe like $50 for the month. And what I do is you can pick your demographic, right? So I'm not going to start typing in things into whatever to get, like, I'm not going to type in Vaporwave, right? Because it might not be broad enough. So what I do is that I put my age bracket down, right? And I'll say, within this 15-mile radius for Philadelphia. But I don't just do Philadelphia. I also I also drop a little button on the different suburbs surrounding Philadelphia, Phoenixville, or the ones in New Jersey, or Haverford, or Bryn Mawr area. Like, I start dropping down the little tabs on that too, so that the advertisement doesn't just go to Philadelphia and 15 miles outside Philadelphia, because maybe it won't hit those suburbs, which are maybe still 15 miles outside Philadelphia, but maybe it won't hit them. So I'll drop about like 20 or so individual little buttons on top of all these different places, so that my ad goes to those specifically as well. Because kids from the suburbs right outside Philadelphia are going to come to the show as well now, are going to come to the party as well now. And the thing about doing an advertisement on Facebook, if it's your Facebook page, is it will be linked to your Instagram page as well. So you'll run that advertisement on Instagram as well. And that gets it out there a lot. And it gets a lot of that gets me a lot of clicks, a lot of people coming. You know what I mean? I also say that for the most part, if you can so when you're throwing a party or you're throwing an event, you want your ratio, like say it's a Facebook event, right? You want your ratio of people who have put going to compare to the people who put interested. You want at least 10% going of what you're interested are. So if you have like 5,000 people who have put their interested, you should have 500 people that specifically say they're going, because people don't like to write going that much. But if your ratio is about 10%, you're probably gonna have a really good event. Like a lot of the interested people will come, but 500 people have said yes. That means it's going to be a good event. When the ratio becomes lower than the 10%, it gets a little bit iffy. Like that's just what I've noticed. That's the thing to look for when you're throwing a real live event. Is that I don't know. It just seems to be an interest. It's been a very good predictor for my events. You know what I mean? So okay, it's a good question. But I figured you know I'd answer it a different way. I would do, instead of talking about skeleton lipstick, let me talk about T-Chill with that one. Any other questions?
Oh, Quiz had a really good one. Let me go back up to this. Oh, yeah.
Quiz asked
Yuni
like
Wa.
4 questions in a row when he asked questions.
Some good
What's
ones.
the question?
All hail Quiz. Yuni Wa said,
yeah,
Quiz
Quiz
says,
is the best.
if you were to host your own URL festival, what would it look like? And what might be different from how people are doing URLs in the Vapor scene right now?
Cool, he asked me that.
What?
I'm looking.
It's a long question, but it's a good question.
Hold on.
See you later, Ed.
How would you do? Let me summarize it for you. What would you do would you ever do a live event? And if you would, how would it look? Would it be different than the other ones you've been to? What would you do differently? Maybe you've done a few live events now. If you were running your own, what would you change? What would you do different?
Probably not. I try to hit up some really left field artists and try to mix them in with some, just, I don't know. I want like a show that's like got some variety to it, but still to a specific point. And I plan on giving like a smoke machine and like shit. So I'll try to make it as essential as possible.
We're losing you a little bit there.
Not saying that this wasn't already welcoming, also, like
yeah. I mean, the other thing is that it might be a tough question for you because you don't throw events. You know what I mean? It's hard to answer that question sometimes when you.
I do a little bit, but most of hip hop is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
What do you think about people that shove music down people's throats? Do people need to be aggressive when they're trying to get people's attention with their work, or do you think there's a point where it's too promote-y?
Wait, say that again?
What's up?
Wait, say that again?
Oh, sorry. I don't know why, but it's hard to hear you all of a sudden. Do you feel like there's like a point where some people shove their music down other people's throats too much?
It's a tightrope to walk, right? Like it's hard to promote your music, but not to overwhelm people.
I mean, listen, there's some artists that post their shit all the time and they tag everybody. I mean,
oh man,
how do you do it without being annoying? Do you know what I mean? Like.
So I know some things that are definitely like annoying that I've seen people do before, right? So like there's like this one DJ in Philadelphia, and whenever he does an event, he tags everybody he knows on Philadelphia. He tags everybody he knows.
It was kind of cutting down.
I was gonna say like we got a bad connection. Oh damn!
Fuck, we lost him.
Oh well, hopefully he rejoined.
Oh, he's coming back. He's coming back. Hold on.
Hey.
Hey, wait.
Oh yeah.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Yuni.
Yuni?
Hello, hello.
You good, buddy? You good, buddy?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was gonna say, did your internet shit itself?
Oh no! Oh no!
Dude.
He lost him. Oh, he's coming back again. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
We still got another 45 minutes, bro.
We still got another 45 minutes, man. Oh, you back?
I can see you just fine.
I can see you.
Say something. Oh, like his audio.
Well, while we're getting Uni together, I can tell you that like one of the things that I don't like is when people do tag. Oh, they're back. Hold on.
Oh, I got on the edge of my seat. Hey, bro, if you're still watching on Twitch on your phone, close that shit out. Because I see you moving. Say something.
Oh, there we go. Here we go. We got him.
Hey, yeah, it was kind of breaking up.
There we go.
Oh, you're good now, man.
What's
you're
up,
perfect
bro?
now. There we go.
Yeah,
there you
turn
are.
Turn that Twitch off, bro.
Yeah, man. Oh, damn it.
Damn. So I think you and I are thinking of the same person, by the way. Did they put out like a new album every week?
No, I do know who you're talking about as well, but Riot Nerd is
Billy.
Right. Oh, that's my buddy Riot Nerd is rating us right now. How about that?
Thank you, Riot
How
Nerd.
Fun.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Hot Takes.
Now.
Hopefully, Yuni Wa's internet will work.
Yeah. How you doing over there, Yuni? You good?
Yeah. It just kind of dropped out the call and dropped me back in and dropped me back out and dropped me back in.
I know, it was like
I wasn't pressing anything. It was just like, I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, your internet does not want these people to hear the message, man.
So Yuni Wa, let me ask you, like, would you say it is kind of like a fine line of, between promoting what you're doing and putting it down people's throat, right? Like, that's a hard line to walk. And me personally, what I think the trick is to make it seem exciting, is to make it seem like this is a fun thing, not that you're begging people to go to, to go listen to your music, or that you're forcing them, or you're like putting everything in caps locks, like, attention, this drops now, you got to get it. But just try and be sincere with it. Try and really explain why it's special and make it seem exciting and unique. Like, do your best to make people excited about it, not that it's like an obligation for them to do it. What do you think?
I feel like, you got to make it natural. It's got to be, the tone's got to be all you. Don't need to make it over processed and just like commercial.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You'd be like, talk about it, about the hard shit behind that shit. Usually every great body of work has a story to like the fucking process, And,
I think that's important, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be natural. I'm not a professional promoter, but
yeah,
I try to keep things natural sounding and just organically exciting.
Yeah, I think that you make the Hot Takes Vapor thing seem very exciting. I think you do a great job with it.
I was excited to be on.
Yeah,
Bro.
man, absolutely. It's a fun time.
Just based off the branding, it's just like, of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Oh, love you,
It's a
buddy.
match made in heaven.
No problem.
You know who's great at the promoting is obviously Ronnie. He's he's a fantastic promoter.
He's like the best promoter I know.
Dude,
Right?
before the pandemic, he was hitting up IRL shows that he may or may not have even been interested in attending just to get the word out about Vaporspace. Him and Sam Sachs, like, hitting the fucking streets.
When I went to St. Louis, he was just like, I bought Vapor Air a couple months back. And he's telling me about all the other Vaporwave cats that I always listen to, but, because it's a lot of them. Like, it was like the specific, guys that came around the era, like Vapor Era and Bloodwave.
I love Bloodwave.
I'm honestly afraid to have Ronnie
Blade
and
Band.
Dr. Chris
Well,
in
he'll
the same
give
room
you-
together. I think it would
He's-
probably explode.
He's fans of all these guys, He's fans of all these guys. Whenever he gets the opportunity to bring them, he brings them to St. Louis, and I admire that. He puts his, he really holds this shit up. He really does. He's like a pillar,
He really works it on multiple different platforms too, whether it be Discord or whether it be the Twitch live streams, the Facebook. The smart thing that he did too was like creating a group. Like, I thought that was really smart when he created the group. The Facebook group for Vaporspace. Do you know what I mean? Because that is something, one of the big things I think to get people involved in what you do is to engage them, right? Is to create a space for them to engage in. And so him not just creating a page for Vaporspace St. Louis, but creating a private Facebook group where people could post, get involved, post their own music, their own art, etc. I thought that was really interesting. I think community building is one of the biggest things that you can do as an artist to get your name out there, whether it's you're an event promoter or you're a musician or an artist or a writer, etc. You know, I think that's a really good idea, is getting people involved, right?
Yeah, actually, Uni, have you considered a Patreon or a fan club or anything like that?
I actually have a Patreon. I've had a Patreon for years.
No shit. Let me find that shit and drop that link.
You gotta put that in the link. Put that link in there.
It's on my YouTube. I just don't promote it that much.
Well, we're gonna promote it right now.
Just because you're busy making music constantly. I can't believe you have 20 songs on the next album.
Damn,
what made you decide to make it so long?
Songs on SoundCloud? What?
What you say?
What made you? What made it the choice for you to make the album so long rather than maybe split it into 2 albums? Did it just this is what the album was? These are all songs and requirements.
Yeah, the Context series has always been a series that's longer in length.
Yeah.
But usually are always LPs, more than 10 tracks long. Like every Context album is more than. I think the
I love you for that.
Album is the only one that doesn't have more than 10 tracks.
I don't remember the other ones having 20 tracks thoe. That's the thing.
Are you trying to make a Death Dynamic Shroud album, bro?
20 tracks is a lot.
I didn't. But I wanted. You know, honestly, I had so much stuff. I was just like, yo, fuck it. It's a lot of different vibes. It's really a really crazy soundscape though. It's super. You can tell it's a concept album, and you can tell it's definitely like very strong and emotional. It has no words. It's you know.
Can we talk about the fact that you will repost people's songs on SoundCloud if they join your Patreon?
Yeah.
That's really cool, man. That's a unique perk. Just saying.
I still do that for homies. I still just repost it. They'll tell me $25, just repost it.
Yeah.
I'll keep it up for long as fuck too.
Yeah,
dude,
man. I don't know.
I'll come with the music anyway.
Yeah, man.
Ruby Kaiju reposted a couple of my sets, and they got hella plays now. So I would say to anyone thinking of joining, that's worth it.
I don't understand people who don't do that, who don't repost people's things, who are very selective with what they repost or like, you know, they just like, well, I can only do it so many times a day or just not that often. I don't like people who safeguard their life. You know, it's one thing.
You don't want to overcrowd.
Well, you do want to make it special. I mean, you bring up a valid point.
Yeah, you don't want to overcrowd, but you do want to involve the people you care about.
I also feel like Exactly. You definitely want to. I know it's like there's so much like big music you can find. It's like there's no reason to, honestly.
Honestly, yeah, no, I don't think so. Yeah, there's not that big reason to. I mean, at least with your likes though, like, yeah, you can like people's shit. Like, it's one thing to not, you don't have to repost everything. I do, you know, you don't want to clutter up your social media, you don't want to clutter up your SoundClouds or etc. But like, I mean, you can fucking go ahead and start liking people's stuff. It means a lot when you do it for people. You know what I mean?
Honestly, one of my favorite ways to find new music
but it's a lot of work too,
SoundCloud
because it's like a whole other job to do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to make your own music and to promote your own stuff, but then like it's like another job is like, okay, well now I gotta go support other people too, and it's you know, it's, I guess it comes with the territory.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've always had an open ear to whatever's good, so you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for you about good. Do you think that there is such thing as objectively good or objectively bad? I asked Tech the same question. I hope you don't mind.
What do you mean?
So with regards to art, is there such thing as objectively good music and objectively bad music?
So objectively meaning that it's
like it's a fact. It's bad. It's a fact. Not it's bad to you, but maybe not to somebody else.
Oh yeah. Kind of.
Yeah?
Interesting.
Okay. So what's a good example of some objectively good music? It's good and it's a fact.
Like like funk music or disco.
Okay, disco.
It's a tough question though, right? Because it's like, well, this is objectively, because I know that like there's stuff that's objectively good to me, right? Like, and like I think that you kind of have to have that sense as an artist. If you're an artist, in my opinion, if as an artist, like you kind of have to be able to answer that question the way that Yuni just did about like, yeah, there is. Because if you don't know what's good in your own mind, how are you going to make your own art? You know what I mean? You're just going to scramble around and you'll never know if it's good or not. And it's that sort of like, and like I would say the same thing that Yuni's saying about like, yeah, there is objectively good, there is objectively bad. And like, I really can't really point to a specific example at the moment, but I know for me, like this is good, this is bad. And I get, and I get the idea. And yeah, at the end of the day, I suppose everything is subjective, but in my mind, this is the objective bad, this is the objective good. And if I can't really draw that distinguishing point in my mind, then how am I supposed to make art? Because I won't be able to do it, because I'll have no idea what I like and what I don't like. So I think it's necessary to be able to answer that question like that and to say yes or no. There is good, there is bad. It's not me saying it for everybody else, but it's saying it for me. Is Yuni? Is he still there?
I was gonna say I think we're losing him. Yuni, are you still with us? Damn. Fuck CenturyLink or Verizon or Comcast or whoever.
Well, until Yuni gets back, what do you guys think? Do you think that there is an objective good or there is an objective bad?
Not gonna lie, I was not expecting that answer.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Oh.
And if you are back, I want to hear an example of some objectively bad music.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I still think that what you're asking is a tough question,
Yeah,
but it's a fun question.
Right.
But I'm saying, once again, that like the objective bad, the objective good exists only in the artist's head. You know what I mean? And
okay.
The artist has to have an objective good and an objective bad in order to make their music, or else they're
you
just
have to have some sort of touchstone.
Damn it! Damn it!
All right, I'm about to bust out the big TV for the next episode. Hey there,
yeah.
I'm Yuni Wa. What's up, guys? Yes, there is such thing as objectively bad music, and it's called Insane Clown Posse.
That's just bad to me. That's just bad to you. It's probably not bad to other people, but I think that.
Hey.
Oh, that's funny. Are you coming out? I didn't see you going back and forth in the television like that. That's fun.
Let's put the static up.
Hello.
Damn, bro.
Yo, what's up, man? How do you like? Can I ask a question for you? How do you like Arkansas, man? Is that a good base of operations for you? Is it a good home base? You're comfortable with it? Would you ever want to move anywhere else? Oh, damn it! Is he there? I want to.
Uni, we can go not video if we need to.
You want to go not video? Maybe should we go not video?
We could throw up the static, man, and we could just do like an audio.
You want to throw up the static and we'll just do audio?
Can you hear me?
You're coming in and out.
Yeah, shut your cam off real quick and see if that makes a difference.
Shut your cam off. Let's see if we can just do with audio.
All right.
How are we doing now? Oh, that might be a little bit better.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We'll miss your face, but
I wish. Wait. So my question again is with Lil Rock. Is this a good home base of operation? Would you ever want to go somewhere else? Or do you really like it there? Is it perfect?
I probably want to go somewhere else initially. It is where I'm from though.
Yeah.
It knows where my people is, so you feel me? I'm where my people are.
Mm-hmm. So would you ever consider going anywhere else? And if you did, where would it be?
I don't know. I'm open to America.
Yeah, man. Would you like to tour more often? Just go around and just maybe experience things like that again? Are you looking forward to that maybe soon?
Yeah, definitely want to definitely just do a string of nightclubs through the winter or fall. I just definitely want to get out. And definitely just travel more. Probably get a passport, go to Europe after COVID and shit.
Nice.
Do shit like that. Really, expand the universe.
Universe. Nice.
Holy shit.
Do you think you could ever? Do you think you could ever stop making music? Do you think that's even a thing you could even possibly do? Like, could you actually stop making music if you want to, or would you just never be able to do that?
Honestly, like, I don't see myself doing that realistically. But like, I know I'm transitioning more into like the business aspect of music. So it's like, who knows what might happen? If I like, I see myself for the foreseeable future releasing a lot of music because I just have so much in my output's crazy. So.
Well, that's good. You're not going to run out of material ever.
I mean,
I'm sure
my
your fans
question
are
really
happy
though
about
is
that.
like, as an artist, do you think you could actually stop? Like, can you picture yourself actually stopping and not, I don't know, picking up the DAW and like making a song? I know that I've tried before and I couldn't do it. Like I did go on hiatus for a little while and I couldn't. Like I had to go back and do it.
I don't think it's just that. I don't think it's like after doing this so long.
Yeah.
I might take a break from here a couple months, but I'll come back and make a string of music, like a string shitload of shit,
Can I ask you a question? How do you know when you're done a song? Like at what point do you say this is over? Is it when you listen to it and it hits right? Does it take you a long time? Do you have to listen to it several times?
I gotta listen to it on some different speakers and headphones. And
you give it the old car test.
It's gotta, make the hair on the back of my neck stand up, basically.
Interesting. That's interesting.
I gotta feel that shit.
Yeah. What speakers do you like to test it on? I know that I personally I'll test it on my monitors. I'll test it in headphones and in the car.
I like Yamaha's.
Yeah. I always think it's important. Sometimes I'll even test it on the phone without even the regular speakers, just playing it off the phone, because you never know how people are going to listen to your song the first time. Do you know what I mean? Like even just the phone without your headphones on. Some people might just click on a YouTube link or a Spotify link and like just hold it in front of their face and listen to it. So I sometimes check it with that too.
Make sure the highs sound good. Uni, I have a question for you, bro.
Reasonable.
Uni, what is a song or album that you think everybody needs to hear at least once?
Well, what's the top album?
Any song or album that you think everyone should hear at least once?
That's from any artist.
Anything.
Anybody.
Free reign. The world is your oyster.
It's probably gonna be the best of SOS band, like.
Yes.
Oh wow, that's a great choice. Hell yeah! Wow,
that is a really good choice.
That's such a good choice. That's really good.
Yeah, I'm such an old school ass nigga. It's gonna course.
Me too, man.
That's amazing. I did not see that
choice.
coming, but that's a fucking great album. The great act.
Do you have a special like love or affinity for 80s R&B and like?
I do. It's very deep. It runs in my veins. It wakes me up at night.
Interesting.
I smoke to it. I just live
Hell yeah.
life to it.
I've always been a huge Alexander O'Neal fan once I started getting into it.
Yeah, like Luther Vandross and fucking the SOS Band and Loose Ends and Prince and Morris Day at the time and Roger and Zapp. I could really go forever.
Yes.
Go on, man. That's awesome. That's amazing. So that's the big inspiration for you.
I pay attention to the music I like. I really, study that shit and take it in. Those guys all have something you can learn from. Also, even earlier acts like the Isley Brothers and Earth, Wind & Fire, and the Commodores and the Temptations and the Spinners.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find yourself being drawn to specific instruments or sounds or techniques or?
I do. Those very, very soul R&B. Sometimes it sounds like it has gospel influences.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Stuff like that. It's like the stuff that's definitely like just got strong emotion. Like you listen to.
I completely agree.
When you listen to, like, say for instance, Loose Ends,
Yes, hanging on a string.
Hanging on a string, right? You listen to you listen to the 999 is not a service. Like they fucking I miss. Why don't you pick up the telephone?
Oh man,
you know what I'm saying? Like
that's what I love about that era.
It's like their synergy is so fucking crazy.
It's so emotional, dude. It's so like over the top, but in the best way.
Oh god, it really is over the top. Like Yarborough and People's Guilty. Like, I'm guilty for loving you. I'm guilty.
It's
like,
great drunk music, dude.
They're in like a car, like a used car dealership. Like, it's so fucking hilarious, bro.
It's such a fun vibe, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love that exaggeration of feelings. You know what I mean? That they do in those
very
songs.
Melodramatic.
That's like, yeah, the exaggeration of feelings. It's like it's playing to the back of the crowd. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is like meant to like soar over to everybody, right? It's not like so specific that you gotta like. It's not for one person. It's for everybody. So it's just like in a play, you have to overdo your emotions. You have to overdo your hand movements
good point.
To play to a big audience. So it's like, you know, in these songs, it's like that's the equivalent of that, right? That's like, I'm guilty of loving you. Like you're playing to like the back of the crowd when you do that too, man. Like you reach everybody. It's so fun.
Yeah, I think those guys definitely did that. They like,
yeah, dude.
You listen to the SOS band, they got parts of their fucking song where it's just like they're like talking on the phone and shit. It's like, I don't really think I can go out this weekend. On Weekend Girl and shit. Like,
you know what my favorite fucking example is, dude?
Yo, I love that. That's my favorite in the songs is when like, oh, but do I like? I keep thinking of that Lisa song. I want like, oh, but should I? Oh, but maybe if he comes at me.
That shit is the Roxanne, that big ass Roxanne track from the 80s too.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, do you remember that New Edition song? Can You Stand the Rain? Where it's like, let's go get wet, and it's like the thunder.
And it's like a Quiet Storm. Like, that's like towards the 90s.
Fucking love Quiet Storm, dude, and New Jack Swing.
Music.
Oh man, that's so fun when there's like a little interlude at the beginning where it's like them talking to the friends, like, yo, you think she's checking me out right now? Yo, and then like, it breaks into the song. It's so fun because it's just such a, I don't know, man. It feels like a daydream sometimes to me. You know, it really feels like a daydream. Like I love it. It's such good music, and it's such interesting vibes that are, you know, exaggerated in this way that's just really comforting. It's really soothing to listen to it. You know what I mean? Like everything seems perfect. Life seems
what you know
good,
about
you know?
No One's Gonna Love You, bro?
No.
What you know about No One's Gonna Love You?
Oh yeah, you know some of those songs I sampled,
dude.
But
yeah,
like,
nice.
Still yeah.
That's how you know this man got taste.
Yeah. No, let me tell you something.
You're gonna have to start dropping some links.
Because I've been listening to this shit since I was like younger.
Hell yeah.
I listened to this shit when I was like a teenager.
What was that? What was on that? Was that what was playing in the house a lot when you were growing up?
You know, not really. It was more gospel.
Oh, I got a really good question for you when you finish your thought.
It's more like southern gospel music playing
Interesting.
in like my house growing up. But when I got a hold of MP3 players, when I got a hold of MP3 players and I got a hold of iPod, I was bumping that.
Oh wow! So was that the first time that like what put you in contact? Was like when you're like as soon as you got your MP3 player, you're like, this is what I want to put on that MP3 player. Like I can't wait to get this and listen to whatever I want.
You know, when I was back in middle school, my uncle put a bunch of older music on my MP3 player, older hip hop.
Wow.
Right. What you know about this, young
all
blood?
That stuff. R&B, 90s R&B, 90s hip hop, like jazz, contemporary, all that stuff.
Wow. He hooked you up.
Like, yeah, it was hundreds of gigabytes of music, and it's just like, I just had time to just analyze and go through all of it. That's also how, you know, I've always was a big Outkast fan, but I became even more of one because I got all the albums through him, all the Outkast albums.
Wow.
Nice.
Like,
damn, that's the homie right there. You better keep him around.
those people that spark us, that enter our lives, and like, here you go, and like give us the music, like that is such an important experience to have that person who really starts the fire, who like gives you the album or gives you the MP3 and loads it up for you and be like, you're gonna like this, check it out.
Really, this was like hundreds of gigabytes.
They'll put you onto this.
Wow, hundreds of gigabytes.
This is like a large exchange. You know, like the computer I had before, that had all my music that I was listening to Kanye and Rick Ross and shit. It crashed. So I used to also listen to gospel rap on some weird shit. I don't listen to gospel rap anymore. This shit's different, but like the computer crashed. I lost all my music, so I got.
Dude, I've had that happen too.
MP3 player, and I just like, I'd be listening to fucking Wreck and Effect. All I want to do is a boom, 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 and go boom.
Just shake the room. Yeah, man. That's so funny. That's so funny that it was your uncle that did this for you, that gave you all that music. That's so cool. And it's really interesting that it's not like he gave you one album. He gave you an entire catalog of music, like, gigabytes and gigabytes of music. Like, you were started with an entire history of music, basically, of multiple histories of music. And it's interesting because when you started making music, you immediately began to release lots of music, like multiple albums at once. And it's just funny because, like, the first time you were really able to be getting into music, you were given multiple albums at once. And it's funny, maybe that reverberated a little bit, and that's kind of how you approached music, was like you were given a sprawl, and so when you started making music, it also was kind of it was like a big sprawl of music too.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I can definitely agree with that. That definitely was a big thing for me, being able to stay up at night and listen to all that. And,
wow. I can't even imagine. I don't think I ever had an experience where someone gave me, like hundreds of albums at once. Like, I remember, like that's like you went from 0 to 1,000. Like, that's crazy.
Uni, I have a question for you, bro. Have you ever shown the vaporwave version of a song to somebody that's like only heard like the OG version? Like, have you ever shown someone a vapor song?
I've done that a couple times. Also, like, I don't think Halloween. Honestly, I think it's guilty by your bro people. Surfing.
Yeah. What was that? What was the reaction?
It's amazing. It's still an amazing song. Both songs are amazing. Surfing's playing on it is just so cool, though.
Yeah.
Thanks for the follow, Gamer Paper.
Wow, man.
I dated a girl one time, bro, and we would show her mom. She made vaporwave art. We would show her mom the vaporwave songs that flipped samples by Kashif or Sherelle or Alexander O'Neal, and she would be like, she would listen for a second, and she'd be like, "Why did they mess up that song?" And it was hilarious. It was hilarious, dude. So I just had to know if you had ever had that kind of similar experience.
I really like the vaporwave versions of all these things. The recontextualization of this music, it's great because it really reintroduces the concepts, to new people, and people, they'll look up the other artists. They'll discover more, and they might find themselves into a whole new world of music that they would never have been exposed to otherwise. And I don't know. It's interesting.
Like, think about all the people that know about Marcos Valley now because of Vaporwave and Future Fly.
Yeah.
Right.
For real.
Let me ask you this. Are there any specific sounds or like instruments that like ruin a song for you? Is there any sound that you're just like, oh, I don't want to hear that?
Probably like I really like classical instruments. Shit like that. Probably like a ugly ass synth, like really droning ugly synths. You know what I mean?
Really droning.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Like, I don't like organs. I'm just really don't like the way they sound.
Organs?
So I really don't, man.
I don't like detuned synths.
You don't like detuned synths?
Synths that are too detuned and too chorused out. Like, that shit's too much.
Sometimes it's a bit overdoing it when they do that. Like a little bit of detune goes a long way. You don't need to pull it all the way down. Like a little bit of detune 2 oscillators, a little bit, and like you'll get a nice wide sound. A little bit of chorus on top.
That's all. Yeah. Just don't gotta make it like.
Damn, we got a hot take in the chat. My homie Vance Farplane says many good '80s songs are ruined by sax solos.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think the sax solos are the best thing about 80 songs, though.
Just saying.
Yes,
that is a hot take.
I love the sax solos.
Like, what the fuck?
Wow, man, Yuni's been so chill the whole interview, and then I just heard him say, "What the fuck is that?"
Yo, the sax solos, like, fucking. Didn't Bill Clinton come out and just play saxophone and got elected as president?
That's how he got elected. Yeah, but he did. He came out there and he did huge. Bill Clinton was a big sax player.
I'm from Arkansas. I like the saxophone.
Dude, MIDI sax is amazing too. I don't care what y'all say.
I think it's adds so much texture and depth to an 80s song, a 90s like soul R&B jazz song, like especially like the really contemporary jazz and shit. Like it makes you just feel like, damn, like I'm really lost in like the cosmos or some shit. Like, I think it makes me just peer into myself. Like I just like listen to the sax solo hit. I just be thinking about life and shit.
It's interesting. Wow, so you really connect with it. You know, the saxophone is an interesting instrument because it's a very playful instrument too. Like you can move through it very quickly. You know, it's got all the different valves on it, so you can move it really quick.
It is based in out of jazz, and I love jazz. I love John Coltrane and Miles Mingus.
Yeah.
You know,
So how do you know when a song is particularly stanky?
How do you know when a song is particularly what?
Stanky.
You said stanky?
Stanky.
In a good way or a bad way?
I mean, I don't know. I heard somewhere that people that listen to a lot of jazz will say, like, if the song's really good, instead of it slaps or it kicks or it fucks, it's stanky.
I've never heard that.
You never heard that? Okay.
Yeah, we just snapped.
You just...
Isaac LMAO, Isaac being white as fuck.
Somebody that listens to jazz said that.
I was cracking up.
Y'all
too.
leave me alone. Why do I got to be the butt of everybody's jokes every episode?
I don't know, man. You kind of set yourself up for that one. I was watching that unfold, and I was like, "Oh, he's gonna keep pushing this." Oh man. You know what though? What I love about the saxophone in general is just like it does have all those valves, and because it has all those valves, there's so much room to change the frequency of the sound. So you really do feel like you're floating in the cosmos because you can just so many steps in it. You know what I mean? It's like a spine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree, and I agree with Enrail when he said saxophone is the sexiest instrument. When I hear saxophone and a jazz contemporary song from the 80s, it makes me want to definitely have the sex.
It makes you want to
sex. Have the sex. You know what I mean? Not just engage with the sex, but have the sex, man. Because it's a sexy goddamn instrument.
It's like passionate love making like instrument, like.
Yeah, man, it really is a passion. Like, I don't think you can really accomplish as much with a lot of other wind instruments because just the saxophone has, I've said it like 3 times now, but so much depth, right? Because you can, you know, you're altering this. You know what's very sexy about the saxophone too is like, unlike a lot of other wind instruments, which maybe only have like 3 or 4 valves, you really caress the saxophone. You work up and down the entire instrument. You know what I mean?
God, somebody clip this.
Sexual. You know, it's pretty sexy, man. Like the act of moving a saxophone means moving your hands up and down the instrument.
It's definitely like you're fucking the saxophone.
It's like you're fucking the I'm glad you said it and I didn't.
Yeah, because every time I have sex, I go.
You know, I really feel that in my spirit. And,
yeah, dude.
The jazz is beautiful, and it tells the stories of, you know, many black artists that are trying to make a way for themselves in the 20th century America, and racial segregation and rights era. I think it's great music because it really was like kind of like a starting point for the. I mean, yes, it did get commodified by the major labels.
Well, everything does, though.
But it brought such a great, rich, type of thinking with it, and it was very forward thinking. It's very really just overall welcoming for all people, and it's just like a rich sound. That's why I sample a lot of jazz. I really have always liked that saxophones and brass instruments and all the quintets and the quartets and all those guys that just would travel and Europe, like Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
Like travel Europe till he was broke. Take 30 men with them for months at a time. I respect those sacrifices and what they did. Because that stuff wasn't easy. You can only
can't even imagine, right?
Exactly. So that also in turn makes me take what I do serious. To a certain degree that most people might not be able to understand.
So that's actually really what I wanted to ask you about, is also as a black artist in Vaporwave, where there are very few black artists in Vaporwave, do you feel like, what I do might speak to some other kids that might get them into it? So what I'm doing is very important, and I need to really think about everything I do, maybe more than some of the white artists do, because what I'm doing might be setting the groundwork for future people to follow me.
Yeah, exactly. And, and I already know there's kids out there that love love DJ Screw, love chopping the Screw shit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And that's the they're gonna do it. It's like my bad, I lost my train of thought.
No, we were talking about basically what you just said about the jazz artist paving a way. You are a black vaporwave artist in a world where there aren't too many black vaporwave artists, but maybe there could be soon. Maybe there are kids who are 13, 14 getting into Yuni Wa, and they see you doing this, and they say, hey, there's a place for me in this scene too, if he's out there doing this and he's successul. And you said that, there's that is an added pressure on you maybe. And I don't know, you seem to be pretty confident. So
I'm very super critical of my music and growing and making it sound bold and dynamic, and just evolving as an artist, and other people to be able to be willing to have the patience with themselves to allow themselves to create art. They see a testament of what I had lived my life, and they can find their own way where they can adapt to it. They might learn something from me. I don't know.
So you think about that though when you make music and when you tour. You actually you do think about somebody could look at me. I better take all this very seriously. I maybe have a little bit more pressure on me because of this too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yuni Quiz has a really good question. Is there someone who you feel is influential or important to Vaporwave stylistically that is not getting their due respect?
What did you say?
He says, is there anybody who's very important to Vaporwave that isn't really getting their due, like stylistically is a big influence, but people don't talk about enough?
Let me see.
Who's influential to you?
Honestly, I really like I really like the guys I came in with. Of course, I might be mispronouncing some names sometimes. Fiber.
Alex is great. Alex has DJ'd T-Show before.
Super Sex,
Oh yeah,
nice.
Great too.
Just played a Super Sex song.
Groovy, you feel me? I feel like Tendencies,
Hell yeah.
That's great too. Brandon's great.
I feel like I love their music. I feel like that,
He did some good stuff with the Coup d'etat label too.
What'd you say?
He did that Coup d'etat label for a little bit.
Losing you, Isaac. You're cutting out a little bit.
Cutting out? That's weird.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Well, you know, I really hate to I really just want to ask one more question about this before I leave the subject completely. But,
Okay.
you know, are you doing okay? Do you feel okay with that pressure that you have about, you know, maybe being, you know, a black artist and thinking about that other artists might follow you the same way you talk about jazz? Are you okay with that pressure? Does it ever get to be a lot? Do you even think about it at all that much? Or, well, last thing I want to ask about that, just want to know personally.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to think about certain type of pressure, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really just about trying to have as much fun with what you love, and
Nice.
making sure that, you know, I try to look at it like this.
Yeah.
With the pressure that I've always realized it would come, the
Yeah.
more I take it serious, the more people that will pay attention to what I do, and I still have to be able to be so bound to what I love to do, and also have the patience and just the overall commitment to be able to just see it all the way through.
Wow. That's beautifully put, man. That was very beautifully put.
Yes, it was. Say, since we got like 5 minutes left, I don't know if you guys can hear me.
I'm sorry,
but,
man. Wow, has it already been 2 hours?
I know, right? So
Oh,
one of our
All
favorite
right.
things to do, and I hope you guys can hear me. You mentioned I was cutting out a little bit.
You're back, Isaac. You're back. You're good, man.
Good. Uni, one of our favorite things to do is to like spend the last 5 minutes just shouting people out. And I feel like before Chris and I kind of, you know, talk about what's going on in our lives, we would love for you to take as much time as you want to just promote anything you want, shout out anyone you want, talk about anything you want.
Yeah.
You know, shouts out all the homies in the chat, of course, shouts out all the homies in general.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the album out Thursday night, 12 a.m. going into Friday morning. Context 4, 20 songs long. Yeah, and you know, shouts out, like I said, everybody in the chat, Ronnie, Luxury, Groovy, Quiz. Quiz is really the reason why I got on. Quiz was like the guy that came to me. It was like, hey, Skeleton wants you to see if you want to be on his podcast. And I was like, of course. I fuck with Skeleton music, so I was like, why not?
Thanks, man. I thank you, Quiz, for reaching out to Uni. I really appreciate that. Yeah, Quiz told me, because I was talking to Quiz about it, and he's like, yeah, I talk to Uni all the time. I'm like, oh my God, could you please ask him if I would love to have him on. I'm a huge fan and friendly with Uni, but you probably talk to him more than I do. That's great, man. I fuck with you hard too, man. I fuck with your music hard. Thank you.
Thank you. And Pacific Plaza. You know,
Hell yeah.
Pacific Plaza.
Big love for Alex.
MRail, Molo. I hope Molo's doing better with that. I saw that she got COVID. I hope she's doing better. Love her. She's such a great, cool, bright person in the whole community. Oh yeah, DS dude. You know.
That's the homie right there.
For sure.
A lot of Rosewood people. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's lit, man.
Anything else you want to shout out? Or are you good?
Yeah, that's all.
Shout out
Isaac,
you,
do
man.
you have anything you want to shout out?
Other than Yuni Wa, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. This has been so much fun. Thank you again, Tech Honors, for rating us. Thank you to Riot, what was it? Riot Nerd Philly, I think. That's a friend of yours, right, Chris?
Riot Nerd's a promoter in Philadelphia.
Yeah, hell yeah, Riot Nerd. Thank you for rating us.
Thank you.
Thank you
Riot
for everyone that tuned in. We have got some really cool things coming down the pipeline. We've got an upcoming show that is going to be after the next Vaporspace. Some details a little fuzzy. I do not have the trailer ready to go, DS dude. I'm sorry. I owe you an apology.
Ooh, losing you.
I have. You guys can't hear me? Can't. Oh, that's weird.
Wait, now I can.
Oh, okay.
Stay right there and talk. Stay right there.
Stay right here.
Stay forward. Go forward.
Maybe there's something wrong with my mic.
Now stay there and don't move and talk.
Oh, that's weird. Okay.
Just stay right there and talk.
Maybe I need a new mic. We got a Rosewood event coming up. May 8, I believe, Saturday, May 8. Is that correct, guys? We got a new Rosewood show, a Rosewood Balance, coming up. We're going to have some cool IRL Titan Radio homies playing a show. Promoting is about to start really soon. I have embarrassingly not figured out how to play video on here yet, but that's my project for next week. Eparita has designed some pins for hot takes, and like a dummy, I don't have pictures of them, but Eparita has designed some pins that we will have a way for you guys to let us know if you want one. No cost, personally. If you want one, let me know, and we'll get you one. If you want to donate, you can, but we'll have some details worked out on that by next week, by 2 weeks from now. So tune in May 8 for the next Rosewood show. I've got a really cool set coming up for a show after that with visuals by Luxury Elite. And she has finished the visuals already, and they are amazing. I cannot wait for you guys to see them. It's an Outrun synthwave set with a bunch of like classic archival commercial footage. You guys are gonna love it. But anyways, we'll find a way to broadcast the to show pictures of what the pins look like next time.
Yes, can't wait to see them.
Over to you, Chris.
Okay, so I guess I'll just promote what I have coming out most soon. So I've got the Winter Quilts O Discordia remix album. I'm going to be featured on that. It's going to be featuring remixes by me, Tokyo Wanderer, Donor Lens, Alpha Chrome Yayo, Cell Shade, and everyone's favorite Hong Kong Express. And also, I'm also have a remix for Pop Culture coming out soon that I'm almost done working on. I also have a new single coming out called Vapor Never Sleeps. That'll be out soon. And I guess next week, Ming Curry is releasing his album. And Ming Curry I believe that was going to be the first album released on a Game Boy Advance cartridge as well.
Holy
and that's
shit.
A visual album he put together as well. And I am featured doing vocals on that. And I got a bunch of other stuff coming up, but I'm only going to announce the stuff that's coming up most, and that's what's coming up most soon.
All right. I love it. Hey, do you want to introduce our guest?
I actually don't know who we're going to...
Oh, we don't know who we're going to have?
No.
Oh, so it's just going to have to be a surprise.
He might not be able to do it right away either now, so we'll talk about it.
Yeah, all right, so it's a surprise who our next guest is going to be. But best believe there will be some promoting. Yeah, I don't have... I'm not as smart as you think I am, Daniel. I don't know how to do that. So that'll be my project for next week.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, but we obviously have a very long queue for Vaporwave, a hot take show, and you guys are all on it for the most part. You people asking to be on it. Yes, you guys are all on the queue.
You better believe it.
But we're just working through it. We got it, guys. We'll get to everybody eventually, but there's just a really long queue at the moment. But and we do this only every 2 weeks, so we'll get to you. Absolutely. We love you all, and you're going to be on it. And anything else, Isaac?
No, thanks again, Uni. And does anyone know if 3D Blast is live right now?
Yeah. Who should we raid?
Should we raid 3D Blast or somebody else?
Oh, perfect. All right.
All right.
Uni, thanks a lot for being here again, man. You can go to bed, and thank you very much, buddy. Big fans, love you very much. Really appreciate you coming on here and sharing all that wonderful advice with us and the wonderful, ruminations that you had and all the insight that you were able to share with all of us. And we really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Thank you for
Yes,
having
indeed.
me. I really, really like this engagement. You know?
Yeah, dude.
We got to talk more
you.
about 80s R&B at some point.
We got to do a show. We'll do a show. We'll all hang out IRL at some point soon. I know it. All right.
I'm definitely trying to do that and try to, DJ and just,
We'll be there, man. You'll come do Terminally Chill. Trust me, man. You'll fucking love this party. Wait till you see how it pops off.
Okay, man. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for being here, and good night.